Welcome back to another Tahyira show. This is talk number 4. Congratulations, you made it to level 3. Stay tuned to find out what was level 1 and 2. This conversation covers motivation for first generation entrepreneurs. The main thing that I've realized in my whole journey and being a Black person whose family sacrificed a lot for me to go to a private school so that I can now graduate and enter the workforce with some type of advantage. I didn't have an advantage. Not only am I in debt, it still affects my family because me not be able to start my own life and financially secure myself, meaning I still have to come back home certain times, or I've stepped out on my own and had to go back. A lot of our stories found is because we never had resources. So what I wrote down for people who were at level 1 was being an immigrant. Shout out to the immigrant life. We grew up the different ones in school. Sometimes your parents didn't really understand your homework if you had an issue because number one, maybe they had a language barrier. That's something my husband experienced. He's from his family's from Dominican Republic. He learned English as a second language because his parents spoke Spanish. That's something. My parents came from America, Trinidad. They speak English there. But there was times where they didn't understand the math problem, for example. And I'm I don't remember what the teacher said. You guys can't help because you don't understand math this way. I guess I'm going back to school with questions. We made it out of that. That was level 1, you guys. Shout out to us. And when Labor Day weekend came around, for those of us that live here in Brooklyn, we was the littest, But I told y'all at level 3 right now. So y'all also made it past level 2. Level 2 was just being a first generation American. You walk around with this pride. I was the first person to go to college. I was the first person to graduate high school. I was the first person to get a job in America at the age of 17 because everybody else came in their 20s. So, you have the only story. If you come in with you have brothers and sisters, then it's you guys forming your own bond, living in this kind of space. I had a lot of cousins growing up. We all have similar experiences where we try to Americanize our families. For example, my family never used to eat pizza. Now that's one of my grandmother's favorite things. My aunt and them, they never really got to pizza. And also, even though they serve pizza in Trinidad, it's an Americanized, we'll get pizza for dinner. They never used to do that. It's what are you getting pizza for? Did you eat that in school? I'm and level 3 is what happens after college. What happens after you, the first person to graduate, or you and your cousins are the first person to graduate. The resources or our timeline moving forward is 100% dependent on what the immigrants that came in that started our stories here in America, what they've done. Being 100% transparent in my life. My grandmother retired. She was 70 years old. She retired forced into retirement because she still wanted to go and make ends meet, as that's her favorite line. The factory that she worked in closed down. My mother experienced working for a lot of startup companies and private business owners. So, good and bad maybe because she was really close to a lot of her bosses. She maintained a lot of good connections, but she still struggled. My aunt experienced the recession straight up. She was a high level paying person at Bank of America. So I was able to go travel to Paris and England and all these places right after college. She lost her job with the millions of other Americans who worked in the financial industry. So if the few that you have, and this is just my life, some people don't even have as many people as I have, and I'm really making this video for them because I feel fortunate to even be around, I have multiple adults that help build my foundation. What if it was just me and my grandmother though? Just me and the factory? Could I even afford to go to CW Post? A private white institution on the Gold Coast of Long Island? Probably not. I could barely afford it now, and that was for 6 people helping me to pay. The reason I became an entrepreneur was because, I call myself an entrepreneur, and technically entrepreneurs are people supposed to start with some type of capital or funding and whatever, and that's literally where I'm at right now. Well, I was there for a year since I was living in Los Angeles looking for investors, people to invest into me. I worked at a company doing financial investment, managing investors, just to understand the lingo, all that stuff. I got that, so now I'm doing it for myself and for others. But essentially, I started being an entrepreneur, building my own stuff. I call myself a social engineer now. It's because I was sitting at home with 2 degrees sitting next to me, and I'm this is crap, Applications that I filled out, and they would ask the question, do you have any friends or relatives that work here? I don't know how many of you that are tuning in right now put yes. I knew somebody here, someone hooked me up with the job or whatever. Me, it's always been no. The person that was That person was my aunt who lost her job at Bank of America. There was no other space. Like, though people were making money, they were not in position to help me get anything. So next time you look at a job application, ask yourself, why do they ask that question? Do you have friends or relatives that work at the company? Is there somebody that you know that works here? That question is not set up for people that look like me. One of the brands that I run, that I launched with my friend Ashley in Los Angeles, and now, the brand exists right now on Instagram, but it doesn't really have a location. Since we started it in Los Angeles, I say it's a Los Angeles brand, but I'm in New York now. It's called For Us. The next line that I have that I wanted to share right here is the importance for us to create jobs. When I recognize entrepreneur the first 2-3 years, the biggest appeal to me with using your money, trying to build something for yourself, finding money, selling or pitching yourself, selling yourself to other people, for people to buy into you. The importance of that. It's because you get to build something. You get to be a job creator. You get to be the person that's already in position. It's major. And if that's not one of the reasons why you do what you do, then what is the reasons you do what you do? I work at many type of companies where I work really hard. It's only like 2-3 people there. The other 2-3 people are family members of said CEO. It's called nepotism. Nepotism equals white supremacy. White supremacy leads to white privilege. Do you ever stop and ask yourself if the people at the top are playing the same game that you're playing? Because I recognized maybe like 7 years ago that they weren't. When you see people and you're like, wow, like how did she get to that job? Like I look at a lot of news anchors. That was something I aspired to be, like a journalist on TV. How did that person get there? Like, sometimes they're not even like good at the job. And it's like, well, how did they get that job? Like there's other people that are capable and good. So you dig. And it's like, oh, she's a cousin in so-and-so, or she's married to a son-in-law, or it's clearly what's happening right now in our political stage with the Trump family going from a business family to a political family. That's why it's just very hard for a lot of people to even grasp it. But it's nepotism nonetheless. Ivanka is not equipped. Let me clarify what I just said, because the term white supremacy has been taking a lot of hits lately. And when I'm saying it right here on my blog, I don't mean a white supremacist like a KKK or neo-Nazi. I mean the white race in this country, how they remain at the supreme and we're inferior, starts with nepotism. If you're able to just hire your family members and block off other people to get a chance, and half of us don't even have anything kind of to begin with, that leads to the supreme feeling of the race, which is understandable, and then it leads to privilege. It leads to society making it easier for people like them to exist, harder for the rest of us to exist. So I just wanted to be very clear, because I just replayed it because I'm like, is that what I really wanted to say? It is. Supremacy in the terminology as it relates to inferiority. My personal experience of, what did I call it? The corporate family tree. To show us like where we kind of fit in, right? Based off my whole nepotism theory. CEOs, you all know what those people are. The ones who are at the top, it's all on them. This says family. You can read my little chicken scratch here, I don't know. So, the CEO, the directors, the top level management are all family. Say, this guy has a brother and a sister, and I actually copied this from this show that's on right now, Barb Hart's Abishola. That's basically where I got this from, because that's kind of the makeup of their little company. I forgot what they do. It's not relevant, but that's, if you sound familiar, yeah, I stole it. Say this is a guy. He has a brother and he has a sister. He's the CEO. And he became CEO. Let's just add an extra layer here. He became the CEO because his dad was the CEO. So he's the second generation CEO. These people are family members. They're brother, sister. They have cousins, assistant directors, the people that report to the directors. They have assistant managers. These people are still up because they're connected by family, not because of where they worked, where they went to school. None of these people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we know. That's why I put family in between here. I wrote out personnel on both sides. Personnel, people like us, people who are the job seekers, the employers, the majority. Personnel, so there's no family here, you know? Cool. Hiring managers, supervisors, hiring managers, because I believe it's on, the corporate side of life, and then the physical side, there's like, symmetry there when it comes to like, leadership and things like that. So personnel, this is where the break in the nepotism happens. And that's why there's like all these people that I draw down here. Those are people like us, people like me. Actually, I would be like maybe around here, but I have an arrow that goes back and forth between the hiring manager and the supervisors, the hiring managers and the supervisors. Because though they're not family members, the personality traits of these people, because they're the ones on the ground, they're the ones hiring, dealing with essentially what the company's culture would become, what people looking in and Forbes to do a profile on this company. These people are the decision makers to bring in the staff. You don't have a business if you don't have employees, right? This is America. The relationship between the assistant directors, family people here, and the difference here is it's the majority why a lot of people just get held back, If you're starting, because I've been at that level. I've been close to the owner, and it's like my job is to hire another staff member. But now that staff member comes on, the relationship the CEO has with me is nowhere near what they view this person. They view this person as a person, number one, they're so below that Tahyira talks to them, not even the CEO, and it's like, all right, that's your assistant. It's your job to deal with them. It's da-da-da-da-da-da, That's the relationship that happens. Like I say, I was able to step into the hiring manager and to be that person. This is why I'm making this video, because I've seen it, you guys, and it happens. And I don't know if you go on job interviews and you feel like you really hit it off with somebody and it's like, what happened here? You do research on the company and you find out that it's a family owned. That's probably what happened. Like they had a family meeting and you didn't fit in, Or maybe they even need you. They want your skills. They think you're good, but they don't want you to be close. There's a arm's distance. I definitely noticed when I just did the replay of the last one, I spelled personnel wrong. That's not how you spell it. I spelled it like I was like a French person, but either here or there, I think I got the point across. So yeah, you guys, I wanted to talk about this because it's something that struggles for me. There is now, when I'm titling this video, Motivation for First Generation Entrepreneurs. Let's get to the motivational part though. I said you were at level 3. That means despite everything that I just said and everything that people already know about people like myself and like you, it doesn't stop us. It just makes it harder. My main focus is for the next 2-3 years, building resources. I already feel like I'm resourceful by sharing and showing on my feeds and in my stories and being transparent. I feel like that's a resource because there's not a lot of people keeping it real. There's not a lot of people showing how they're getting from A, B, C, and D. We just see them go from A to D and it's like, well, what happened? I'm sure there's, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Everybody can't do it in their brand because of however their brands are being built behind the scenes. I can and I will. So that's me. I'm big on resources. I had a meetup last week and that was essentially the conversation. I met this business owner. He was a white guy. His name is David. He's like really cool. He has a furniture company and he's in Brooklyn. And he was telling me about my personality. He was like, I'm kind of envious of your personality. And I'm like, I thought about it when I went home and I was like, why would I be envious of my personality? But I realized some people in life, there's a lot of things that you never had to tap into because just by the way you look, a lot of stuff comes to you. Then there's other people in life where we have to tap into everything to find what it is that we really need to do. And if you fall on that list, it's okay. You feel lost, you feel scared, you feel tired, you feel frustrated, you feel alone, because that's something that I experience the most, the feeling alone. I could be in a room full of people at a networking event with 150 people and I can get into a space of just like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, there's no one in my family that owns anything. Like, I look crazy out here. You know what I mean? It's you throw yourself into this world. I went out to Los Angeles. I had no idea. I don't come from anybody in film. Yeah, that was another thing. Even when I was doing Frankie's career research path, and I'm like, it's gonna be harder because a lot of people are just on because their parents are on and their cousins are on and this one are on. Like, we don't have nobody. It's just us. Kind of makes it better though. Because one of the motivational videos that I did watch, and I think if I can find it, I'll put the link in here for you guys to find it. It was a video about walking alone. Sometimes you gotta walk alone, not forever, because I never believe that you walk alone forever, but I've been walking alone for a really long time. I really haven't found, this big robust team that you need to build, but I honestly believe that it's coming, and when I get there, like, we're gonna all be rich, so there's no rush. There's fringe benefits that you get where you're walking alone. This is like a corporate-based video. Let's use more corporate word, right? Fringe benefits of doing things on your own. One, when you get to the top, is less people to pay. That's a bonus. There's a lot of people have to cut checks to mad people because someone's doing this, they doing that, they doing everything for you, and it's like, okay, yes, you're a big machine, but it's like you gotta cut mad checks. The more you do on your own, the less checks you gotta cut, the more money you get to invest in things you want to invest in, the more you can build, help, whatever, the access to the money is there. That's one plus. The second plus is you build strength. You build this next kind of mental strength. Like I told you guys in one of the videos I had a breakdown when I was in LA. I never knew that you could get trapped inside your mind until you had to find your way out of the maze that you put yourself in and get back out. You learn mental strength. It teaches you to be open, empathy, compassion, all these types of things. When you're building something and you're working really hard and you feel like you're alone, it just makes you view the world in a very more compassionate space. And the last thing, I don't know if you consider this a benefit, but I do. It turns you into this next level warrior. You kind of walk around world, life, into rooms like you got something to prove. That's definitely how I walked around Hollywood, and I walk around everywhere. It's like, let's say you got something to prove. Like, a lot of us don't like to admit that that's the feeling, but it's there. It's like the underdog mentality, basically. It's okay to be the underdog. Most people like the underdogs. They're just scared to root for them because they're scared to root for someone who's perceived to be the loser. But I kind of like underdogs. I like being an underdog. I like being, because I assume I take the people not working with me as a, I need to step myself up, So maybe that's you. Maybe that's what we need. It's another thing that we learned though, and I take it as a benefit. So I share that here with you. But this is where I leave you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Tahyira Savanna. You're listening to The Tahyira Show on YouTube. This was talk number 4. If you like this content and other content that I've had on my YouTube channel, it's about equity, social justice, things like that, subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. You follow me on Instagram. You follow me on Facebook. I'm on Snapchat. I'm now on TikTok as well. And my TikTok's kind of blowing up. It's just random, but because it's random, there's like so much random stuff up there. But yeah, download TikTok, follow me, send me your videos so we could do collabs up there, which is kind of cool. And this is where I really leave you. Thanks for tuning in. I love you guys.